Hey guys, um, it's me, Serena, and this is like my second take for this particular video, and I'm going to talk about how to stop worrying and start living. I'm entitling this after Dale Carnegie's original book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, and I'm going to talk about my trials, about first me moving here to Kentucky, to the United States, leaving Guam, but about my trials through that, and how I got through my trials, and how to stop worrying and start living through all of that. So let's get started. So right now I'm house sitting for a couple people, and it's been great. Some cute little dogs over there. And so I'm just gonna kind of try to be as transparent as possible without naming names or talking about people, because the goal of this video is to share with people how to stop worrying and start living, to take ownership of your life, to face your mistakes, to face your failures, to accept it, to talk to people about it, to ask for help, and to keep your eyes on the goal, to keep your eyes on the prize, to keep a vision. So let's get started. So when I first got out here, actually before I got out here, I was in Guam, and I had gotten a phone call after many prayers to God about, like, I know you want me to leave Guam. I know you want me to be in the United States and to fulfill a mission that you have for me. How am I going to do that? I got a phone call from a family that I've serviced before for different home care needs. They called me to help them out, to do some work for them here in Kentucky, and so I was like, okay, that's the answer to my prayers. Thank you, Lord. And so I came out here to Kentucky with the family, not with them, but I came out here, and I came out here to help them. I'm trying to be very transparent, or at least pretty clear about the story without kind of giving too much detail. So came out here, did work for them, and when you're living with a family and working for a family, and you're in that business, you gotta understand that it's gonna be demanding, and you're working with a family, so it's gonna be kind of all over the place, because you're dealing with a family. You're not dealing with one boss, for example. You're dealing with several bosses, and you're just kind of going with the flow. So that's what I did, and it was honestly very emotionally draining, because it was I'm a very emotional person. Things affect me from the outside environment. The outside environment affects what goes on in here and in here. So although I was really enjoying working with the family, I was also very getting emotionally drained. It required long hours, and initially I was willing to sacrifice that and my time, but after a while you just get burnt out. There's no other way to put it. As a human being, or as being me, I get burnt out really, really quickly, and also the job was temporary as well. I was only helping for a short amount of time, for about maybe 2 or 3 months, and it was I guess in the middle of my period with them, in the middle of that, I would just I would have breakdowns in the room, in my bedroom. I would just be so miserable because I felt like I was just being so emotionally drained. As you all know, I'm very multi-passionate. I have so many goals. I want to go to the gym, I want to sing, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do my business, all this stuff, and I wasn't doing it, or I felt like I wanted to do that and I wanted my time to do that. And although I was extremely grateful to be with the family and work with them and serve them, I was also very miserable. And I wish I could be like use a less, like a softer word about that, but like I said, I'm an INFP. For those of you who understand personality tests and stuff like that, I'm an INFP, so I'm just so touchy-feely. I'm feely. I'm all about feelings, and I feel things so intensely that I guess the demand of working for a family 24/7, in a sense, like I was always trying to find ways to get away, and also boundaries weren't set either working with that family, so I didn't really make an effort to set those boundaries with them, to have me time so that I could get some rest, so that I could refresh myself for the next day or whatever. I mean, I tried to, but it just was like, I don't know, I guess there was just like a boiling point to everything. And even so anyway, but the point is that my time with the family was only a short period of time, and I had to make the most of it. I had to own it, and I had to break off when I had to break off. So when my time was over with them, and I knew it was over because there was only a certain period of time that was discussed, there was only a certain goal, there was only a certain thing I was supposed to do for that family that was discussed, and when that was over, I had to I had to break away for my own sanity too. I'm really grateful to this family. I don't want to make it sound like anything. I don't want anything to sound, I don't want any reflections upon the family. I'm just saying I had to break away and start a new chapter, so I did. And I did, to a sense. So when the family, when they had to leave town for a while, and there was kind of like this unspoken thing of, is Serena going with us or not? Is she staying or not? And I also knew that there was discussion about that without yes, I was involved in the discussion, but then I wasn't. And it's kind of hard to explain that, but I knew I had to make the decision on my own. Like, no one else could make the decision for me. They couldn't make it for me. I had to make it for myself. So when I made the decision to stay in Kentucky, I had tons of other plans too. I thought I was going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. I thought I was going to go to visit my cousin in Arkansas, and then I realized I need to stay in Lexington, Kentucky. I felt like God wanted me here. And then also, I just wasn't financially ready to move anywhere, to travel anywhere as well. So I told the family I'm going to stay. I'm not going to go with them out of town. They left, and I, thanks be to God, this lady from church offered me to stay in her vacant house, because she wasn't living in Kentucky. I met her at church, and this is the power of prayer, guys. Okay, so I was praying to for those of you who are Catholic, you know what novenas are. I was praying a novena to St. Philomena, asking God to please provide me with a new house, a new living situation, or whatever, like anything. So I prayed a 9-day novena, which is a 9-day prayer to a specific saint, to God, to provide for this thing that I'm asking for. And whether or not it happens, it happens. If it's not, it's not God's will. So when I went to church on the 9th day, I met this lady, and this lady said to me, I didn't even like say anything to her. All I said was, hey, I'm here to work. I'm here as a caregiver or whatever, and I just moved here from Guam, and we were just getting to know each other. And she said, well, I keep a house here. I live in DC, but I keep a house here. You can stay at the house. And that was the answer to my novena. I truly believe God listens, and when you ask, God provides. And sometimes He won't provide, but that's because He has something better waiting for you. But pray anyway. I believe in the power of prayer. So I got that house, moved, and when the family left town, that house was available for me to move into, and I could have moved out of the family's house and moved into this other lady's house. But I was procrastinating because I was just afraid to be alone. I was so comfortable in the other family's house, and all these different reasons. I think mainly it was because I was alone. I'd be alone in the other house because this family, they had another person staying there, and I wasn't alone. Anyway, it's a long story, and God is so amazing because He pushes you when you're not pushing yourself, you know. And so if He wants you to do something, He's gonna push you to do it if you're like putting it off. So what happened was, when I was kind of like procrastinating on moving to this house and still staying in the family's house, I knew that if I stayed longer at this family's house, that I'd be still kind of in bondage to them, and I'd still feel like I owe them something, which I didn't want to. I didn't want to end things on a bad note. So I had gotten a job. I think I got 2 jobs actually, but I was still living in this house, and I was still training at this as you know, I'm into fitness and all this stuff. I'm a multi-passionate person, and however, I wasn't financially in a place where I wanted to be. I'm still not, but at this time I was definitely not. And I was paying like $175 a month for a gym membership. And honestly, if you can afford that, great. But if you are not ready for that, don't do it, because that's a lot of money. So, initially, one of the family members, they put their card on my gym membership, and I would pay this person cash. So this is how the arrangement was initially. And then I got a bank, and then I put my card on the gym membership, but I forgot to take off their card from the gym membership. So the gym, it was that time of the month for the gym to pull out money. The gym tried to pull out money from my card. I didn't have any money in there, and then they pulled out money from the other person's card. And I got this really infuriated text message from this person about just a lot of things, not just like about the money, but it was like about a lot of things about me and stuff like that. And I was just like, I need to move out of this place. And I also broke down really bad, and I realized how people felt how people, like, you know how when people kill themselves over people kill themselves because they're in a state of financial ruin. You've ever heard those stories? Well, I wasn't like suicidal or anything, I didn't feel that way, but I felt that despair so intensely. And I like collapsed on the floor because I was done. I was like, why do I keep screwing up all this stuff? And at that point, I was like, okay, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. You definitely can't change it. So I was like, okay, I can't change it. I'm gonna call this person. I'm gonna tell them I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell them I'm gonna pay them back. And I'm just gonna own it. I'm just gonna do me. And I'm gonna own it, and there's nothing else I can do. And that's what I did. And the worst, I thought to myself as well, what's the worst that could happen? The worst has happened. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's all. And you just gotta own it. You just gotta face it. You gotta do it. And so told that person I'm going to pay them back. It's going to take some time, but I'm going to pay them back, you know. It's funny, right? It's going to take some time to pay $175 back. Trust me. There are a lot of people in my shoes. I feel that. I realize that. And I found out, you know, so anyway. That same day I moved out of that house. I called some friends from the Newman Center, and I broke down to them. I told them I needed help, and that's the beauty of it too. If you feel like you're in a state of ruin, or if you feel like you can't do it on your own, tell somebody, ask for help. They helped me move out of that house into the other place. Bada bing, bada boom. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I have 2 jobs. I actually also decided that I would, sorry, oh my gosh. I sat on this chair and it's like making my butt white. That's great. That's just great. But okay. So that's kind of where I'm at now, but I'm here, and God is so good. God teaches you everything you need to know. He is always there for you. He will always be there for you. You're never alone. Even if you make mistakes and you fail, He'll always be there to provide. Through those failures and mistakes, you can't wish it away. You have to accept it. You have to embrace it. You have to face it. And you have to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And now what do I do about it? You have to face it. That's what fears and failure, that's what fears are about. That's what failure is about. I am opposed to the idea that failures and fears don't exist. They do exist. And you have to face them, and you have to accept them, and you have to confront them and fight them with a vision. So you have to keep your vision in front of you, you have to keep your goals in front of you, you have to ask for help. And I believe that's a big part of how you stop worrying and start living. That's what life is about. So I hope this story helps you guys who are going through hard times in life. There are many times, and I'll be very honest, like there are many times where, I would walk, like I don't have a car, so I had to walk like 45 minutes just to get to the place where I need to get to, or I take the transit where it's like 11 p.m. at night and I'm walking at night, you know, in the streets of, it's hilarious, but God always provides, and even if it feels like you're in a bad place, it's not really that bad, you know. You can do it all. You can do anything, and it makes for a good story as well. So face your fears, ask for help, and have a vision, and follow through with that vision, and believe in that vision. You can do it. I am very emotional right now. Because I'm a girl. I'm an INFP. Those of you who know what personality tests are about. But yeah, I really hope that this helps you guys, and I want you guys to know that it's gonna be okay, and to not live a mediocre life. Alright, I'll see you guys later. This is my story of becoming strong.